Hello everyone, it's Sloth here, and today we are going back to basics with Esper Classic. So this is a standard Esper decklist, and I wanted to see how it fares in the historic right now. So there might be some slight modifications. Murderous Rider isn't the most used sometimes, and we have double Vraska Contempt because I like the life gain and the exile effect. Other than this, it's pretty much standard, so we kill with the Shark Typhoon, usually with the tokens, and we get control with Teferi, so the rest is like, formality to one. So let's see how it works in the meta. Oh, and here we have the Bog land. It helps with any graveyard play, so I really like this land. I'm not sure why it isn't played a bit more, especially with graveyard heavy meta, but I really like this card. Of course it has disadvantages, but it's still fine. It's pretty much like a graveyard removal spell, but it also works as a land on top of it. Okay, and let's go into the games and see how it goes. Oh, and I wasn't really active lately, so probably my rank is quite high, quite low, but we'll try to make some interesting games to make up for it. Okay, that's not the great hand because we have double counterspell, but we will try to manage. So we want the black and blue mana because we have those lands that are untapped without the HP. So that's what we prefer. And probably the next one will be this for Murderous Rider, and we still have Absorb. So the very important thing here is that we have a lot of HP, and with double Absorb we have even more, even though the enemy doesn't know about it yet. So yeah. Okay, and that's the big thing. So we want to keep removal, we have double counter spell, so let's do it like this. And it heals for the full turn. The issue with our hand is that we have too few options. So we have 7 lands, 8 lands, and that's a bit too much. So let's go with the tap land. I won't be using this one for now because the white deck often has something to resurrect. Okay, if a source your opponent controls would deal damage to you, or permanent you control, we don't really do damage. Prevent one of this. Whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, counter unless it pays 1. So it's pretty much a tempo card. This 1 damage I don't think matters. It matters when we block with Rider and so on, but we still kill the Warden. It's not bad, but I think we are flooded with lands so much that it's fine. And I won't be killing any of them. But we need to remember, because it lets us play, we just have to pay additionally, so something to keep in mind. We don't really want to get countered because we forgot. But as you can see, enemy just lacks power in the board. Like, he has 2 damage a turn. We can go like 10 turns like this with all the healings that we have. And frankly, I'm even tempted to kill the Warden. But okay, let's go for a few turns and see what happens. Okay, but especially with double spell, it slows us down. I mostly let it enter just so we can use our land, because then they pretty much serve a purpose. Okay, so he won't have enough mana, he will gain 1 life. Okay, and yeah, I think we absorb just for the sake of the Valkyrie. Okay. So, okay, it's not a target, so let's do it like this. We don't have a sweeper, so that's the reason. If we had a sweeper, I would just let it enter and just clear the board turn after. So, I'm not sure when is the point? I think if they have any kind of resurrection, then we will use it. So this will be the last land that we play. I probably could use this and play it as a creature, but let's not do it during our turn. If anything, I think... Okay, so we have safety net of 1 creature removal, so we could kill this next turn, then we can play this, and it would still kill the Soul Warden. So this would create some pressure, so I like it. It's not perfect, but we have another removal, so when the enemy gets the creature, we should be okay for a while. And creature on the board let us give us much more time, because then we pretty much heal every turn, so the enemy has pressure to do something. Okay, and we can pay the tax, so we can use the tap land, but we are getting seriously flooded. Like we have 3, 4, 5 cards for the whole game that weren't lands, so we have 66% of lands this game. That's not great. Okay, so it gains life and it doesn't have a full party. So no, 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 no. And it can provide hexproof and indestructible for all the creatures. So that's okay, I guess. Okay, he won't be attacking because there's no reason to. And here's our safety policy. We want to do it on the enemy turn, so when he sacrifices, this one is indestructible, but when we attack during our turn, it's like, come on, how many? 5 cards out of 16 that weren't lands. That's insane. Okay, so I think it's even more important that we heal every turn. Okay, this one isn't the worst. That's something, but we really need some card draw. Yeah, let's do it. If he blocks with the 2, then he doesn't kill the rider and we still get 1 HP. So we heal every turn. I'm happy with the enemy got lands as well, for once. Okay, so let's draw a card and then count. Like, of course it's land. So 4, 5, 6 cards out of 18. Still 66% of lands for the whole game. The good thing is that we soon take most of our lands from the deck, so it's hard to draw them. Okay, and if we attack, we get 1 life. And if we block, we pretty much gain nothing. So this, when we attack, we lose 1 life every turn because he attacks, and if we don't, then we we go neutral. So it's better to not attack this way. Good. Finally. Okay, that's some serious save policy. So we are now in the top deck war, and we should have much better cards, and the fortune smiles to us. Enemy also doesn't really get anything. So let's do it like this, because I just want the next card. Okay, and at this point, if it had double power, we would just try to attack and kill him, but with 1 HP it's just not enough. Okay, what did he draw that he thinks it's fine? Okay. So I'm pretty sure we swipe the board right now, because it will be 4 creatures. Okay. Problem is that this will make the tokens, and that's something I don't really like, so it's possible we just kill it. Yeah, you get your HP. That's quite a lot. So I think we should kill this, just for the sweeper to not create the tokens. because we won't have Rider, so we don't have healing, and I don't want to leave the pressure. So first we block. Yeah, let's block for the additional HP. So we heal by 1. Now we need to kill this one, pay the tax, and then swipe the board. And we are back into the top deck wars, but we are starting to get our serious card. Moment we hit Teferi, I think we should be super fine. And at this point he doesn't really get a lot of cards, and I don't think he should have a lot of graveyard play. Maybe like this third 3 mana enchantment that lets you get back a creature every turn. Okay, and 1 damage is fine. So we need oh, that's the card. That's what we wanted. Finally. Okay, that's exactly what we were waiting for. And this will close the game. So as long as you have both counterspell and removal, you are just golden. We only need to be careful of the sphere, just so we don't get somehow countered. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but given we have both counterspell and Teferi, I think it speeds up the game, because this way we can go to 8 a bit faster and then the game is completely over. And Shark Typhoon is great as well.
You know what? I'm not.
So I actually will play the hardcast version, because then when we counter or get the Chemister insight, that really helps us. Yep, and that closed the game. So we were quite unlucky here, but yeah, it worked out well. Alright, and that's a pretty good hand, and we have the Murica guy, which is fine. But I'd never seen this sleeve, that's why. It's pretty nice, like it waves and stuff. I usually saw the flags and it like wasn't really moving, so this one is pretty cool. I'm not the America guy, but if I were, I would totally use those. Wow, that's neat. I will give a hello, even though he's an elf player. Okay, so we probably will kill his 3-drop, because for elves the 3-drops are really scary. So it's either the sage that gives mana and +1/+1, the elf that has 1/1 and gets counter every time an elf is played, or even this, which I'm slowly starting to hate as a card. So let's kill it, because that's the trigger for all the insane value. And yes, we can have a sweeper, but I'm pretty sure at some point the enemy will flood us anyway. So if we slow down the chain reaction of having extreme amounts of the value, it's shaman or wizard, so not a druid. So we probably want to start a game a bit, and then when he's with no cards, then we can go. And this is actually something I really like. Yeah, it gives a lot of damage every turn, but I want to have enemy empty his hand. Okay, so surveil, and how many types does he have? 1. So for a while I think it shouldn't be a problem. So I prefer to draw a card and heal, and let him use the remaining card. If he's a bad player, he will just use everything next turn, because he has discount from the goblin. So that's why I really want the goblin into the play. It lets him make a mistake. So we will see if he makes a mistake, but we are doing our best to help him. We are such a friendly player. Okay, and probably if something high impact comes this turn, we might counter it just for the sake of you doing something, but well, actually, okay, and that's a real question. So You can survive in the meantime. So that's a big decision. We can let it enter, and then if it enters, we can sweep the board. Problem is that at this point we have only one removal, and the enemy has initiative with 3 cards, because he will have 2 and draw 1, so he can float a board a bit again. So at this point I will counter it, because we don't have enough mana to do a lot at the same turn. We don't have Teferi on the board, and I think we will pay life. Okay, and now let's think, because he doesn't really have a lot of haste creatures, and by not a lot I mean none. He is tapped out, and we have Heartless Act, so I think it's time for Teferi, because then we can defend him. Even if he uses the Dragon Rage, it's still 3 damage, so we do want this. I expect him to attack Teferi with everything. Okay, when Pyromancer enters the battlefield, discard 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. For each non-land discard, create an elemental, but without haste. Exile this Pyromancer from graveyard, create tokens. Okay, it doesn't have haste. That's the only thing I read. It doesn't have haste. Okay, you have the guys. Because right now we can use the Wrath and still have counterspell. So if we get turn with both of them, yeah, like you go for it, man. It's not great because it gives him the other card, but it's pretty much a wasted move because we have Sweeper. And honestly, I don't think I will even remove any creature. Like, yeah, it hits harder, but he cannot play anything, he doesn't have mana, so he won't finish Teferi this turn. And next turn I can sweep with this and still have a spot removal thanks to this play. Not even saying that we will draw a card additionally. So, oh my god, with another sweep. I think it should be one game right now. We will need a while to close it, but enemy might just give up. So it's not exactly over, but it's quite close to over, especially with the... we have perfect answer. We have counterspell, removal, and sweeper. So we need to play those cards right with the Teferi. When Rage Forger enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each other shaman creature you control. And it's 3 for 2/2. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 token attacks, you may have that creature deal 1 damage to target player. Okay, that's not scary at all. And we are getting two cards per turn, and the enemy gets 1. Like, I will do it because it's good. And soon Teferi can eat another hit, so that's really good. Oh man, that's tempting, but I don't think that's the right play. We want enemy to deal with Teferi somehow. I sometimes untap lands for the enemy, but he will have some instants, so that would actually help him. And you never should. You actually never should. So, 2/2 creature. I think it's fine. Like, it's slow. We could even try to give this... Yeah, I like the idea. I think. Do I like the idea? No, I don't. So it will take him a while to just get rid of the Teferi, and with 2 cards a turn, it's really good. So we are now in the process of closing the game. We are in great position. Those 2 might be a bit of a problem because they will swarm the board. That's not really worth the absorb yet. Especially with the backup Teferi, we have quite a lot of room. So those are all low value cards. Like, they do something, but they aren't really important. It might be even worth to sweep. because we have 40 cards and only 2 sweepers, so we soon should hit the other one. Like 1 in 20, so maybe not so high, but you get my idea. With 2 cards a turn, it's easier. Okay, so the enemy is thinking, and if we are going to sweep the board, we don't want to remove this one. And I think that's a good play. The only problem is with this, because after we sweep the board he has some free tokens, but I think we should manage somehow. Teferi, as you can see, gives us a lot of options. With 1 card a turn it would be a problem, but with 2 it's like it will solve out somehow.
I'm getting too old for this.
So the first draw,
You know
insane crap.
what? I'm not done.
Okay, sure. So he has 1 card. Let's do it like this. All we need to do is slow the game, and moment over time he just gets grinded out of value, because we have 2 cards and we can even this is also removal, so sometimes instead of a card we can remove something and destroy his draw in the future. Those are the only problem for now. Okay, so the agent. Now it's interesting, because it's possible this gives him 2 cards. Let's see what the problems are for us. I think Collected Company is the worst one, because it's also an instant, but he doesn't have it. How many did he use? 1, so there's high chance it will go soon. But this is a card draw pretty much. So let's counter it, because it creates a bit of too much pressure and he only has 1 card. That's pretty good for his situation. So 1 is a land and the second one is an earth. Okay, I guess. Oh man, 3 last draws are lands. I'm thinking about cutting lands, but that's not a wrong amount. It's like, I believe 26 if I recall. So that's what we should do. So let's go for the Omen of the Sea. And in such situations you can see that this card is insane, and it's still land. Like, we will scry in the end, so I guess it's fine, but we aren't really getting lucky with those draws. And just for you, if I really concentrated, I should use the scry in response to the trigger of entering. Then I could scry 4 and then draw 1. So that would be better overall. So we are getting to the point that we need sweeper again, but Omen is extremely good in such situations, because it lets you dig really deep. And I think we should have like 3 Omens, so a lot, except lands in this deck. So we will do this one. Enemy has other Pyromancers, so it's not like next turn it will change much. And he liked the Teferi. Okay, more Teferi, so I guess we don't really need life. We don't really need mana as well. So, yeah, sure. Alright, so we won't land, and we have quite a bunch of Teferis. And I think the good part is that we can eat quite a lot of hits. Okay, and that's finally the card that we really like. Okay, so we will take both. Okay, and that's something to think about. I don't think we super need to save this Teferi. I think it's more important to like remove both of those. So let's start. Yeah, because I don't want to give him options. And we have so many Teferis and draw that we should answer everything. Okay, so pretty much we have still 2 mana, but that won't be really used. So he can get rid of Teferi. And somehow it still doesn't have all the types. Okay, so that's something we need to remove next.
Nah.
Okay, and he didn't kill Teferi for some reason. So I'm happy with this. And as you can see, closing the game is much longer than it should probably. I think the surveil is quite strong. But at the same time, we can just do it like this. Because we untap with Teferi, so it's good to have some options. So we need a sweeper. Okay, and puts at the bottom of the library, so I actually want this one more. So this way we can get rid of everything, and this is probably the game. So as you can see, it was like 15 turns longer than it should. But still, yeah. And now the value hits, so right now, yep. So that was a good game and good attempt by the enemy. But with Teferi, it just grinds them out of value over time, so as long as they cannot remove it, you usually will find all the answers that you need. So, yeah, Teferi good. Who would know? Okay, this one doesn't look good at all. Like, theoretically, enemy goes first, so if we draw, it could be salvageable, because we can cycle the Typhoons, and if we get any land that enables those to go untapped, then we could start cycling to get into 3 mana for removal, then sweep. But it's just so bad. If we don't get a land, we are super screwed. And even if we get land, we might get a turn behind fully. This is super hard hand, especially we don't have this mana. So even the removal isn't great. I think we should mulligan, it's just too risky overall. And I like you, Teferi, you won the last game, but sorry. I hope we draw something later. with this card, I wait until the last moment. First, you need to see if the enemy like uses graveyard in his deck, and if he does, you want to play it like as late as possible, even. Okay, so this is some kind of red aggro deck. That's a hard situation. I don't think they have madness cards, so we will let him hit us. Because I'm pretty darn sure that those decks won't leave 1 mana unused any turn. Their whole deck is like 1 mana. And 2. Yeah, there are also late game cards. Okay, and that's a graveyard card, ladies and gentlemen. So whenever you... okay, so it's pretty much a 2-2. Is it worse than this? For a while it won't be a problem, but we don't have another removal. Okay, I think we do it like this, because we want different run than this. Yep, and thanks to the cycling we got it. So we probably cycled the Typhoon, killed the Courier. It's too early for him to sacrifice it. I wanted to click it quickly, so the enemy doesn't think about Shark Typhoon too much. Yep, you can. And now we cycle, because this is pretty much a removal with a redraw and as an instant, which makes the enemy do a bad decision pretty much. He will have probably a removal, but it still delays him and so on, and if he doesn't, we just get a free pass. So it's good overall, and we don't lose even cards. The only issue is we need to kill this before we play the land. So that's something that we need to keep eye on. So he is using graveyard quite heavily. I don't extremely like this play, but I actually think we should kill this, play the land, because we need the 4th one and possibly the 5th one, and honestly this one is just better, because it's more mana efficient, it perfectly hits our mana, this can be sacrificed in a way, so the other part can be prevented. And late next turn, it's possible we use Teferi with the Act, which can be huge. So, I don't love it, and it hurts, but I think it's best. And as you can see, that's a huge difference. It's only 2 cards, so if I had other lands, I would just wait longer, and it would be even better. But this game, we don't really have comfort of it. And one of the reasons that the Memory Deluge can be worse is the cost, so you need 2 blue mana. So in 3-color deck that can be an issue sometimes, like this game. And no, I won't admit it could be a blue mana, like it wasn't the case at all. Okay, so instant, sorcery, creature. Oh man, that goes fast. Like 2 land deck. This is okay, but still, this is just plain stupid. Okay, anyway, I think it's the fairy time. So the enemy will probably buff it to 3. It still won't kill it. So what I expect enemy to do, and this one is getting scarier, because next turn it's already good for him to use it. It will be Teferi turn, anyway. And he... no. I thought he had an instant, but this one is... yeah, it's this trigger.
Keep up the pace.
Okay, but card advantage is very good for us. At some point we might even try to contest the red deck power draw, which is insane. Like, because the red is designed around card draw and card advantage. Don't mind me ranting. It will be like this sometimes, especially when I play versus aggro deck. Okay, and this is a big turn. The turn Teferi enters the game is usually game deciding. So let's see what he does. I expect him to attack the Teferi. Okay, like why bother, of course. Okay, so it's 5 cards versus 5 cards. There are no blockers. Okay, let's see what he had. Okay, so he could kill Teferi and he could even kill us in a way. And he did kill Teferi. This card is so strong. In a way. Okay, I don't think he has any kind of like sacrifice effect, so I think I can let him, but on the other hand, like this one will die anyway, but I want him to make suboptimal decisions, because right now he doesn't know that it dies, so it might force him to play a bit different. And like, man, the synergy is like crazy. Are we dead? I think we shouldn't be dead, like after we remove it. And of course, like, we remove all the lands. The issue is, he didn't attack Teferi at all. But the other issue is that he just started drawing cards. Like, that was the discard effect of this deck. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that we don't want to have this one. Okay, but all jokes aside, we have Teferi on the board, and we have Absorb, so that's reasonable. And I could use this one, and it's quite possible we would draw a land. But maybe the Rider would be a better case. He doesn't really have a lot of haste creatures. So then we would have this one as haste. But it's too small. Okay, so I think we should do it like this. Let's draw. So this will be a hard turn, but he also only has 4 mana. With all those cards, I'm pretty sure he has 4. Okay, and like he used 3 of those, so if he hits the last one, I will just counter it. Of course he has. Like, why wouldn't he? And Blazing Rager? What was... Oh, it's Rotwara. Okay. So you are doing it, mate. And now the question, do we want this? Because if I do something else, he can use an instant speed. But he doesn't, well, he has those. But I am not sure how many instant spells he has. To target creature. So I think we go like this. We just need HP. And we have quite a lot of cards though, so the longer we leave the better. And he doesn't target Teferi at all. So it lets us have advantage, and with the Rider we should start stabilizing a bit. Okay, that's fine. This cost him the full turn, so I'm quite happy, I guess, about it. Yep, and now I would really like land.
Need to move quickly.
And of course I won't get it. Like, why would I? So he will probably go face with the pump. So at this point we want to remove this one. That gives us HP. Because we want to do it at the sorcery speed, because then we untap. And with Teferi it gives us a tempo advantage. But it starts to hurt us that we don't get the land. So this time for 17 cards, we got 5 lands. Like, what the hell? It's it's just always wrong way around. Okay, so I think that's the worst part of his discard thing. I don't really like this one, but I think it's not the worst. And if it plays as the first one, it's possible he has something better. You usually play the cards from the worst to the best. Okay, and he started respecting Teferi, which everyone should do. Yeah, sure, you get your stupid red card. And we have good situation because enemy probably knows that we have absorb. Yeah, like he doesn't care. And now the question, we could swipe the board and that would be quite good. Because we need to swipe everything moment it comes, because we have both Planewalker and quite low HP. So we could swipe the board and then we still have mana for absorb. And this one doesn't draw him cards yet. So yeah, you can. And I will get both life, land, and it starts to look quite good. And he also cannot even discard. So let's do it like this. I think we are starting to get into quite good position. The issue is that we just don't have enough mana, even with the Teferi. And look, we also get 2 extra mana every single turn. So that's huge, and we are still like behind tempo, what we would like to be. Okay, so what can he have? Rotwala. I think all the tempers are used. So pretty much Rotwala. Like, sure. We will use the Shark Typhoon for this. And if he doesn't hit anything good, because he also only has 1 mana, or maybe 2, yeah, we can even use the memory. And we will use Shark Typhoon, because that's perfect. This way we remove his card draw, we have a creature on the board for the next turn, and he cannot do anything. Yep, and that was the winning play. So yeah, here you have it. Esper Control doing quite fine.